Hey everyone, this is Mr. Lopez, and I'm your instructor for this semester's course, which is the second half of U.S. history. I want to welcome everybody. It's an exciting time taking a course online. There's some unique challenges and perks to doing this, so let's go over them and kind of learn what the semester will be about, how it'll work. First, a little bit about me. I'm Mr. Lopez, and I have been teaching. This is my 26th year in education, which is crazy for me to think about, hard to believe. I'm in San Antonio. I know y'all are all around the state of Texas, so wherever you are, welcome. I've been teaching advanced academics for 15 years, either dual credit, dual enrollment, or AP. So I'm definitely familiar with not only the content, but the expectations that colleges have on you, which are often a lot different than a high school has. So we'll go over some of those things. My contact info is there at the bottom. It's also in Blackboard on the course too. So there are lots of ways for you to keep track of what we're doing. We're going to alternate between going through a slideshow and seeing what Blackboard looks like for you. So first, let's delve down a little bit more with things about the course. So this course is one semester. It will run, not these dates on the screen, but it'll run the Kilgore dates for the current semester. We'll cover from the Gilded Age to the modern day. What does that mean? Well, if you remember in 8th grade, or maybe you don't, it's been a few years, you took the first half of U.S. history. Now we'll be doing the second half of U.S. history. So Reconstruction after the Civil War, you finished 8th grade with that, and maybe you took some other courses, 9th, 10th grade year. Maybe a lot of y'all are 11th graders, or maybe you're 9th graders and this is fresh in your memory. But we're going to pick up right after Reconstruction, and we'll go until about 2008, so close to the present day. This is a dual credit course, and what that means is that you're dually enrolled. You are a high school student, but you're also a college student. You have a college ID. The work that you do in this course will get you credit on a college transcript. So that's something that a lot of high schoolers can't say that they have. It's pretty cool, right? You're a college student already. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so the details, day to day for this course, week to week, we'll have between 2 and 3 assignments. Most of those assignments will include reading quizzes pretty much every week. Some weeks we'll have discussions. Other weeks you'll have a prompt that you're responding to, maybe a document that you need to analyze. There will be a midterm exam midway through the semester, and then a final exam at the end of the semester. So those midterms and finals do count for a significant amount of your grade, but so does everything else. And it's important when you think about your courses, you want to get everything done. You don't want to miss everything because every little thing adds up. Perhaps maybe your discussion post only counts maybe 2% of your overall average. But think about it, right? If you missed 5 of those discussion posts, then guess what, right? Your grade is already 1 letter grade lower. You've lost 10 points. So it's important to prioritize all of your assignments. Another big difference from a high school course to a college course is that there is no late work. That's a college expectation. When it says something is due on September 15th, it's due on September 15th. If you have an internet outage, that's not an excuse to not have it done. So you want to make sure that you have alternate ways to access the internet so that you're getting stuff done still when it's due. It's a terrible idea to wait until 11 p.m. to do something on Sunday night when that thing is due at 11:55 p.m., right? So you want to get your stuff done early so that if you do have issues, you have the ability to find alternates. Maybe your Wi-Fi goes out, maybe your power goes out, and so you drive to McDonald's, your local library, Starbucks, anywhere that has Wi-Fi, you can get online. You can hotspot from your phone if that's an option. So there's lots of ways to stay in contact. But the no late work thing is something that's really difficult for students in coming into a dual credit class. The only exceptions for that would be very serious things, like someone is hospitalized, an immediate family member, maybe, right? You're taking care of them because there's some kind of family emergency. Things like you were busy, you had to work, you were going on a cruise, you were on a plane. All of those things can be accounted for in advance. So those will not be accepted as excuses. So just keep that in mind, please. Also, some people asked last semester, and so I'll put this in here. There is a discussion post, and we'll see those in a little bit, but asking if anybody is interested in study partners. So be looking for that post, and if you're interested, put your name on that, and you can find somebody else. Maybe y'all can exchange phone numbers or emails so that you can do a Teams meeting, Google Meet, something like that to discuss and study together. Details, some other details. If you have accommodations, you would know if you have accommodations. If you have a 504 plan or an IEP, you need to send those to two places. You need to send them to both Kilgore College and to me as well. The link on the screen, and this is also inside of your course material on Blackboard, is there. But it's accommodations and disability services at Kilgore. You would email them a PDF. If you have them, you got them from your high school, so you would send them to Kilgore, also to me. Your accommodations are not in effect until they've been received by both Kilgore and myself. The phone number on the screen is also for that office with Kilgore. If you have questions about it, you can reach out to them, but reach out to me too. Maybe I can help point you in the correct direction. And since we can't quite see it, that area code is 903. So we're going to click around in just a sec and explore the course, but we'll see that there are several folders in Blackboard. You want to look at your content, and we'll see what that is in a second. You also don't want to just rely on the gradebook, so I'll show you what we mean by that in just a second. As we think about questions that we have, please let me know. Again, you can reach out to me. But when you're thinking of, and this is the big thing for college courses, is when you have questions or you're responding to questions in our discussion posts, we'll talk about this later. There are some tips online, but you want to always think, okay, how can I advance this conversation? So if I'm asking you a question, why do you think this happened? You don't want to just give a simple answer, but you want to prove that you read or that you watched the video, that you engaged with the course materials, right? You want to cite something. Perhaps you say, oh, I read this in chapter 17. And then you want to use some critical thinking, like, okay, why does that matter? You're not just reporting, Abraham Lincoln did this and this happened. You want to say why it happened, why it mattered, why it was so important, how that event influenced other events. So that's kind of just the big thing to be thinking about, maybe what differentiates a dual credit course from your typical high school course. So let's come over here and let's look at our course itself. This is Blackboard. Now this is a student preview, so it might look a little bit different than yours, but this is pretty much what it looks like when you get there. Now on my end, I think it's a little frustrating because every time I open Blackboard, all of these folders collapse. So you'll have to get used to opening them. When you click on Start here, these are things that you'll use mainly the first week of class, but then you'll refer back to them later on. You may not use them every week, but there are lots of hints and tips in there. So you can see up here it says required assignment. So this will be our first assignment, and these due dates will be changed by the time you're accessing this video. I'm still waiting on them from Kilgore for the current semester, but the prompt itself will still be there. So easy week one thing. And these are always due Sunday night at 11:55 p.m. Remember, I talked about planning ahead. So our first Sunday of the course, that Sunday evening, you will need to have responded to this prompt. On your end, once you click on it, you can actually read it and you can type your discussion below. With our discussions, besides you responding to it, you will respond to 2 other students' posts in order to make a 100. So like I said before, with showing you read the stuff, you want to put that in your original post. And then in your responses, that's where you want to have some critical thinking. You want to talk to somebody else. You want to engage with them. Simply saying, oh, I agree, that's not enough, right? That's a one-sentence answer that doesn't really say anything. So follow it up with something else you read, maybe pose a question back to the original poster, or perhaps you, right, say, oh, I see what you read. This reminds me of, and you're kind of adding to the discussion. Think of yes and. Perhaps you've heard that before. So you're yes anding, or no anding, or maybe anding, or that's interesting anding what they said in their original post. Also in Start here is our syllabus for the course. So you can check out that. That will be linked there. We'll have a link, like I said, with due dates for all assignments once I get those official dates from Kilgore. There's an orientation. Now, this is not required for a grade, but Kilgore requires you to do this so you know how Blackboard works. This is the system we're in right now. The course introduction video you're watching right now, that's in here. Here is our syllabus. Again, my contact info. We will have office hours. Those office hours, I will let you know the first week. The office hours are a chance. We're not teaching what happened that week. This is an asynchronous course, meaning that you're watching the videos, you're doing the reading, and you're responding on your own. And then I'm grading them each week. So our office hours will mainly be a reminder of what we did that week or what's coming up that week. Important reminders. Are we doing things right? Is there something else that's coming up? And then a preview of the coming week. So that's in there. We'll also, the first week, have an introduction quiz, and that is after you've read the syllabus, after you've watched this video, after you've clicked around. This is just an easy, hey, how does the class work? When are things due? Etc. There's a link to your textbook, which is OpenStax. This textbook is an online textbook. It is free to use, and they have it for several different subjects, so we'll be using that this semester. You want to visit that link, you want to bookmark it, you can even download the PDF, so if you lose your internet, you can get to it. You can save it on your phone, right? So you can watch it when you're standing in line at Target or wherever you might be. We have a bunch of other helpful hints, stuff about me, how to complete discussion posts we just talked about, how grading works, information about disability and accommodations, info about your privacy. So just want you to look at all of that. That's all in the Start here. And again, for our first week, those are where your first assignments will be. Now, after the first week, our actual, okay, let's learn some stuff. That's all in content. And when you expand that, you can see that it is organized. Each of these folders, Unit 1A, Unit 1B, 1C, 2A, 2B, those are all basically weeks in the course. So each week we will have something different, which is usually a chapter in the OpenStax textbook for you to go through. So let's just click on week 1. You can see in there a brief overview of the unit. Your reading assignment, again, in OpenStax, it will just say read chapter 17. The next week, read chapter 18. Study guide. Outline notes. So those are things for you to have to help you. There are video lessons. These are ones that I've created that will link to YouTube. So you'll need to make sure that you watch those as well as reading. Your quizzes, your tests, they come from both the video lecture and from the reading. So you want to make sure you do that. Speaking of reading, there is the reading review quiz. Again, these dates will be updated when I get them for the current semester. There is a link to a reading for week 1, again, for example, and then we have an assignment. You can see that these are assignments because it'll have a due date on there. So there's a document that you're reading above, and then you're responding down below. A reminder about the discussion forum. Then we go on to our second week. And if you click through that, you can see it's laid out pretty much the same. An overview, outline notes, video lessons, right? Reading review quiz. Some weeks we'll have a discussion, other weeks we'll have a document to respond to, and some weeks we might have 3 assignments. So you just want to make sure that you're keeping up with that. Anyway, if you wanted, you could scroll through the whole semester just to get a feel for things. One of the projects we will do is a research paper. That'll be coming about a month, maybe 6 weeks into the course. And so we'll talk about it as time comes due, but you can see the instructions for that. That's called the Choices in History paper. That one's kind of fun. I'll give you 6 different scenarios where a president, an elected official, the Supreme Court had to make a decision, and you're researching it and saying, was it the right decision or was it the wrong decision? Like I said, we'll have a midterm exam. People often ask about extra credit. We will only have 1 extra credit opportunity, and that will come about 2 months into the course. And finally, we'll have, after a few more units, our final exam with dates again to be added later. Calendar. There's nothing yet as of when I'm recording this, right? But you would see on your weekly calendar our weekly office hour. So this would be a time when you can log in on Zoom to ask questions, right? To listen, hey, what's coming up? If whatever you need, that's your time to ask. You can always email or leave me a voice message. But if you have that question, other people might too. So it might be worth coming, or it is worth coming, but definitely worth coming to see what other people, right, have to ask. People may have questions you didn't even think of, right? Announcements. We'll have announcements in here. Those will be the links to our Zoom office hours and then other just important stuff that's coming up. Hey, remember this week is the midterm. Now, gradebook. This is one place where you can get familiar. You want to make sure that you look at things. You can sort them by due date. Again, these are for last semester. When you sort them by due date, they should show up in alphabetical order. So you can see, right, this semester, ours will be a little bit different. We'll have some added assignments once I add them in. But you can see the order that their things went, right? Tells you the grade you received on it, and then you can click on results to actually view how you did on the quiz on the discussion prompt. If you have questions about any of these things, you can message me. You can do that by clicking on messages, and you can send a message inside of Blackboard. You are also welcome to send me a message through email. So I'll go back to that very first page in just a second to show you. But anyway, that is pretty much it. So here at the bottom is my email, mlopez1@kilgore.edu. And there's my phone number. So when you send an email, when you send a message, just a reminder for college courses, there's an expectation that you greet your recipient appropriately, right? So you wouldn't just say, hey, when is the quiz being graded? Not cool for college. I mean, in general, right, in life, you might send text that way, right? But we're not texting, we're emailing people. So you would say, Dear Mr. Lopez, or you could say Instructor Lopez if you want to call me that. I think Mr. Lopez works better. But Dear Mr. Lopez, hello, I hope everything is going well for you. I had a quick question. I can't seem to find reading quiz number 2 in the gradebook. Can you please tell me when it's due? Question mark. Thank you, comma, your name. Sincerely, comma, your name. Take care, comma, your name, right? So just try and compose a good email message. That's not just for college, that's just in life. It helps you to write for people to receive you and to think of you as someone who's using warm etiquette, right? Someone who is engaging conversation, someone who just wants to know, wants to have a conversation with somebody else. So that's just a tip. Um, Same thing if you're texting. But if you think of any questions between now and our first open office hour, or right after you watch this, if you think of a question and you didn't ask it during the office hour, please again email or text. And I am looking forward to seeing you this semester online. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Bye-bye, y'all.